Hello and welcome again as we look at yet another multiple choice question for IB chemistry. In the electrolysis of aqueous potassium nitrate using inert electrodes, 0.1 mole of a gas was formed at the cathode or the negative electrode. Which is correct? Well, the fact that they said the cathode is the negative electrode and the fact that they said we have electrolysis, that should prompt you to draw a diagram like this one. And this diagram shows the electrolysis of water. Here you have two parts of hydrogen being formed at the negative cathode, one part of oxygen being formed at the positive anode. And the reason that you should recall this is because you have potassium nitrate. And when you have potassium nitrate, it doesn't matter if it's concentrated or if it's dilute, because in considering the electrochemical series, hydrogen is way down below and potassium way up at the top. So even if you have a dilute solution or a concentrated solution, hydrogen is always going to be displaced once you have potassium attached to anything else. The only way that you are possibly going to get potassium is if you carry out the electrolysis of a molten salt. Now on the other hand, you have nitrate. And nitrate with the electrochemical series for non-metals, that too is way up at the top, and hydroxide, which is what you'd find in the aqueous solution, that's way down at the bottom. So therefore you're always going to get hydroxide in preference to nitrate, even when you have a concentrated solution. That's why it's not even stated whether this solution is concentrated or dilute, because it doesn't matter. Whether concentrated or dilute, this is going to amount to the electrolysis of water, and you will get hydrogen at the cathode and oxygen at the anode. But what proportion will you get? Most students are quite familiar with this ratio, that 0.1 mole of a gas, that gas being formed at the cathode will be hydrogen, and therefore at the anode you'll get oxygen, which will be half that amount. But let's quickly recall how that happens. And here you can see the two half equations associated with the electrolysis of water. Here at the cathode, two hydrogen ions gains 2 electrons at the negative cathode to produce 1 mole of hydrogen gas. Over at the anode, to get 1 mole of oxygen gas, 4 hydroxides need to donate their electrons, and then you get 1 mole of water and 1 mole of oxygen. So if you're going to get 1 mole of oxygen, then you'd have 4 electrons that have to be sent somewhere, and all of those 4 electrons need to be accepted somewhere. So seeing that hydrogen only accepts 2 electrons in forming 1 mole of a gas, it means that in the electrolysis of water, as you get 1 mole of oxygen over on this side here, the anode, and 4 electrons get sent over, you are going to need 2 moles of hydrogen formed at the cathode to pick up those 4 electrons. And this is what's happening here with the electrolysis of water. This is the reasoning behind this 1:2 ratio. So of course here in the question, which amounts basically to the electrolysis of water, then if you get 0.1 moles of hydrogen gas at the cathode, then at the anode where you're going to have oxygen, you'll have half that much. And it means that the answer is B.